The seasons are changing, but you know what's not changing? The fact that Mike Sasson and Alex Clemens give you the best damn internet radio / podcast / whatever the hell this is on the planet Earth. It's the Mike Sasson Show. You are listening to The River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com, or you are watching us record this show live on Facebook Live, or you are watching on YouTube after the fact, or you are listening to us on several of the podcast formats, either SoundCloud, iTunes, or Google Play, or you are listening to us on the TuneIn radio app across the planet Earth. So many ways to listen to me and Alex just basically talk about our wonderful lives. Again, my name is Mike Sasson. Over there in the wondrous aqua hair is the number one, it's official, the number one internet radio / podcast producer on the planet Earth. It's now scientifically proven by people in lab coats. A first ballot Internet Radio Hall of Famer. If you would ever like to visit the Internet Radio Hall of Fame, it is currently outside of a Winn-Dixie in Bessemer, Alabama. Make sure you bring plenty of money for T-shirts for the kids. It is Ms. Alex Clemens. Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm just doing great, Mike.
There you go. Very, very sultry voice on that because of the...
It's the leather jacket, really.
It's the leather jacket. Also, last week we had... they were there messing with the board. Remember, they were back there kind of making sure that we all sounded wonderful and the music sounded wonderful?
Yeah.
Because we have a board that you literally...
They specifically put an effect on my voice that said sultry.
Sultry. Like
yeah.
it's like an S and then like a swiggly line and then like the... You know, like they have like the nude body like thing that like is on like trucks? Like on the back of like mud flaps. It looks like a naked lady?
Yeah.
That's the sultry button.
Do you remember who was that made like the special guitar pedal?
Oh, it was Steel Panther. Yeah, the Pussy Melter.
Yeah, he made one.
Just for you.
my voice.
Just for your voice. It's called the Dick Sharpener. I don't know what it would be called.
That's terrible.
I know. Everything about me is terrible.
The Pussy Melter is a good name because that's something that like...
happens.
Yeah.
But the Dick Hardener. The Dick Hardener.
Yeah, there you go. That's much better.
Which,
Sharpener is kind of scary.
I know. That sounds like something that would happen in Saw.
Yeah, like we don't really want that to happen.
Have you ever seen a Saw movie?
No, I don't watch scary movies.
I just don't like them because they're dumb.
I just don't like horrifying things.
They're not horrifying. They're just dumb. Like that's like I remember watching as a kid, like the big thing, and especially like we talk about the 1980s, and later on in the show we will go over an icon of the 1980s.
Oh no,
Ms. Cyndi Lauper. 35 years since her debut album, She's So Unusual. So I had Alex watch some great Cyndi Lauper videos.
Cindy.
And you again, I as soon as I saw her, I was like, you know what, this is somebody that Alex needs to be exposed to. Because I think you and her were, simpatico with always going with the unusual hairdos.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm older, I hope that I still want to have colored hair if it's all not fallen out by that point.
Yeah, she still does. She's
but you don't know if that's her real hair. You have no idea. And she has tons of money to like keep her hair on her head.
Yeah, she's got big time scratch.
Don't.
She has big time girls just want to have fun scratch.
Yeah, and I haven't written a song like that yet.
Yeah, well someday you will, and that's going to be big for you. Yeah, so a lot of great things happening for me and Alex, and we're going to be going over them. Again, thank you everyone out there who continues to listen and continues to watch. And remember, if you want to get involved with the show, if you're watching us live, recording it on Monday night, you can comment away, and we will respond to said comments at the end of the show. Also, if you ever wanted to see me perform live stand-up comedy, this weekend I'm in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania.
Ooh, where is that?
That's like in Greene County.
They have a college there, don't they?
Yeah, Waynesburg.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, real original. But again, if you're down there, find me. I'm doing something. But if you're in the Pittsburgh region next week, Friday, late night, I will be at Club Cafe with a bunch of other great comics, so you can come see us there. Mr. James Phelps is putting on a show there.
Club Cafe is an amazing place to see anything.
Comedy-wise, it's. I've done a lot of shows there. There's a lot of things that make a great comedy venue. I would say Club Cafe is a quality comedy venue, but the problem is the bar is in the theater. You know what I'm saying? Like if you've ever been,
understand, yeah.
And that's one of the things that hurts comedy is any sort of distraction.
Right.
Except that's why one of the things that like Pittsburgh comedians as a whole are typically very loud. And I think one of the reasons why is because, A, a lot of people in this town have very loud jobs.
Yes.
And two, we typically perform in venues in which a lot of stuff is going on. Televisions and music and all this other kind of stuff. So we typically become very loud and very boisterous to essentially drown out that. That's why I always talk to comics from like cities like Chicago or New York or LA, and they always perform in like back rooms or in clubs and all this kind of stuff. And to a Pittsburgh comic, you perform in a club. It's like when you play a video game and you put it on the easy mode. Like,
right,
okay,
yeah,
you should really be able to crush this.
Because people are actually listening to you.
Yeah. It's one of the most ironic things about stand-up comedy is that you have to work so hard to eventually work a room that unless you are legitimately a corpse, you should be able to get a laugh in.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when I've performed at like the Pittsburgh Improv, it's been very difficult. Some nights they're not as easy, but other nights, legitimately, they want so badly to laugh that you can just kind of go, and they'll just start howling for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And part of the Pittsburgh Improv, I mentioned this because it's an honor, but they've actually redone the Pittsburgh Improv. And not this weekend, but next weekend, the 27th, they are actually doing a soft opening. And I will be part of the Saturday night soft open, which it's not open to the public.
Oh.
So I will be performing in front of the people that like made that, and also like executives from the company and stuff like that. So that should be fun. But I'm looking forward to doing shows at the Pittsburgh Improv. But the thing is it's such a great comedy venue that it's one of those things to where unless you legitimately just have no chops, you should do well there.
Right.
But you have to work like years to eventually get to that point.
Yes.
So it's kind of an interesting kind of dichotomy. But again, if you want to see me do comedy, you could see me do comedy this Saturday in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, or next Friday and Saturday here in Pittsburgh. And we'll just all have a wonderful time, which is what we're all about, Alex, is having a wonderful time.
You can see me do comedy drunk at a bar.
Pretty much you have a good tight 10 once you start getting into the third glass of wine. Typically, your comedy is more just looking at me and just being like, you suck, bruh, and then you start puking on
Right,
the shoes.
I'm more situational humor.
Yeah, you're kind of one of those like, like it's like Andy Kaufman-esque. You're playing a character, which is person that really doesn't respect Mike.
Yeah,
and it's
a character.
It's a character. That's why I keep telling myself it's a character of Alex completely just really not thinking Mike is funny. But speaking of things that Alex does, so yesterday what was that? Was that like, did a mouse just fart into your microphone?
That's exactly what I thought it sounded like.
I think it was your leather coat.
No, I think it was my headphones like rubbing against the mic, but it definitely sounded like a mouse fart.
Which, sometimes I bet you most of the stuff that stinks in the world are mostly the other animals farting.
I hope that's a little tiny. Mice farting sounds so freaking cute.
Mice bring disease, though.
So?
Like...
People bring disease.
Everything's a disease.
Yeah.
There's another one. But I don't know if people can hear that when we record it, but it does sound like... it sounded like the cutest thing just farting. Have you ever farted in front of someone that you were trying to impress?
No.
No?
I can't think of any, really. I also can't think of very many people that I'm trying to impress.
Uh-huh. When do you fart first in front of a dude? Like, is it something you try to get away with, like, early on, or is it something you try to hold back until the intimacy is there?
I haven't really been in that situation for a long time.
But, like, you've slept in a bed with a guy, and eventually you're just kind of like, dude, I got to fart. I'm not going into the bathroom.
Yeah, so. No, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. So I guess it takes a little while for me.
Like, do you still, like, with dudes, like, leave the room?
I just hold it.
Really? That's not good. Like, your lower intestines.
I really don't fart that much.
Really? I'm a
big
machine.
Car farter.
You're a big car farter?
Once I get in my car, I just
let it rip.
Yep.
Have you ever farted so much in your car and then remember, like, oh gosh, I'm picking somebody up, and then you just like completely just like pretend.
Yeah, you gotta put all the windows down and like drive around in a circle real quick. Yeah.
But Now, my biggest farting escapade is during my when I work out at the gym and I'm on the elliptical for like 45 minutes and you want to keep the heart rate up, but you're moving around and then all of a sudden you just start letting it fly and you see some like really good-looking woman in like great yoga pants and you're just like, I look like crap. I look like a snot tornado. And oh, by the way, I just let a fart rip. So I am not in a position to go up to this person at all and try to woo them at that point.
I am a big street farter too.
Street Fighter 2 sounds like a terrible video game we used to all play. Do you have Street Fighter 2? No, I got Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
My parents didn't like me.
I go out, like, it's a lot of times at work, and I'll just go out and, like, take a little walk around the block just to let it all out.
I think that's mostly what you smell when you're in downtown Pittsburgh is Alex's
farts. It is.
farts.
You would have no idea. Mm-hmm. You know, that's why I do it outside or, like, in Rite Aid when it smells like shit anyways.
Why does Rite Aid smell like shit?
It's downtown, and it's just a bunch of people that already smell like shit coming into a store.
Oh, okay.
And then making it smell like shit. And
really?
Alex comes in and farts around the whole store.
And then you just make it worse. Or are your farts even better smelling than the actual people who smell like fecal matter?
To be honest, I think they would be better smelling than them.
There you go. Speaking of Alex downtown, Sunday night, I'm going through my Instagram, and all of a sudden, I see that my co-host, again, is a high fashion model.
Well, I'm just a model.
You're just a model, but I see Alex probably on one of the last sunny days in a while.
Yeah, that was last Tuesday. So, yes, the last, like, beautiful 80-degree weather day.
You just decided, Riley Benson, that's the gentleman's name, right?
Yes.
And has taken a lot of great photographs of you over the past year.
Yeah, he has.
And you go behind this. Like, do you call him? Does he call you to get some pictures taken?
Typically, we always have it in the back of our heads, like, oh, we need to go shoot or something like that. But he had this idea. I still haven't seen it yet. He has some caption idea for one of the photos that we took, and he had it in his head for a long time. So we wanted to go shoot. And every time I dye my hair too, I always ask him,
So were you working that day?
No.
So, so you sat there and you went, okay, I'm going to take the photos. You were wearing like a white tank top and jeans.
Yeah.
And you had the green hair going. And then you went with like the shooting glasses.
Those are my new glasses.
I know. You look like a cop in the 80s.
They're fun because they're yellow.
I know.
So they look
like
nice with my hair.
They're shooting glasses. They're like you go out skeet shooting.
Skeet shooting?
Yeah.
I've been skeet shooting before.
Do you wear those glasses?
Yes.
That's what you wear. That's what
my dad told me too.
Yeah.
I said good. That was the look that I was going for.
You're going for skeet shooting glasses, and they look spectacular. So you're like right in front of the hotel, the big time hotel there.
The Omni.
The Omni William Penn, which has a great breakfast buffet. That was one of the only perks of working for Q92.9 was we'd go up there once a week and and go up there and just chow down, which was nice.
I don't like my employees enough to take them to there.
Well, Jim Kren thank you very much, Jim. That was awesome of you. So now one of the captions on the first one where you were standing in the middle of the street was, as soon as she was doing this, she got catcalled.
It was a really nice catcall, though.
See, that was the thing. He kind of played it off like everyone was like trying to say, like, oh, men are terrible. And I know that we've done this before, that there's a proper way to catcall.
It was a woman.
Ooh, see, he didn't bring that up.
And she just goes, actually, no, there was men who said stuff to me too. A lot of people said stuff to me.
You were just standing in the middle of the street taking a provocative photo. You were looking damn good.
It's not provocative.
Well, you're looking damn good, and you're sitting there all sultry looking into the camera.
But I think it's also like people see someone like they saw us downtown, so they see a guy holding a camera and then, like a pretty woman. Mm-hmm. And like they're like, what is happening right now? Like this doesn't happen downtown. There's just a bunch of gross looking people down here.
Yeah. You're like an alien that came down to bring beauty to the world.
Yes, that's exactly what I found my purpose is in the world. Uh-huh. But a woman, they drove past me in a car, and she just goes, "I see you, baby," and I was like, "Oh, thanks."
There you go. That's nice. So that's proper catcalling.
It was just like, "I see you. Mm-hmm. You're there. You're beautiful.
Good you.
I see you. I acknowledge your presence."
Did you sit there and be like, "I see you as well," and you're attractive?
I gave her finger guns.
Okay.
I think that he also got a picture of that.
Did you fire the finger guns?
No. I just gave her finger guns and winked.
Okay. And then you said other gentlemen started a catcall.
Well, yeah, like while we were taking photos, like the other photo that we took where I'm like hanging on this scaffolding, which I forgot how much I love the word scaffolding.
That is a great word.
There was a guy that passed and said something. I don't remember what he said. And then there was like a couple girls that are like, oh my God, I love your hair. Like, you're so pretty. Yeah.
So essentially these turn into more or less making Alex feel great about herself shoots.
Yeah, it's really, really, no one says anything, but except one guy did. We were up on like this little hill in between like the highway, and some guy walked past while we were taking photos and just like hilariously laughed at us. Like, okay, man.
See,
why you gotta laugh at us?
Because I think sometimes people they don't know how to react, and just like you said, it's just so weird.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I would say is like I've been in situations where like if you bring a camera and microphone downtown, they don't know what you are.
Yeah.
And they don't know if like you're shooting for Vogue or like with me like I'm representing like Comedy Central or something.
Yeah.
Like I remember this one time, and I had a friend of mine who went out to Los Angeles who was a girl as well, and she was on Hollywood Boulevard, and these guys came up to her with a camera, and they were like, "Oh, we're part of Jimmy Kimmel's street team.
Yeah.
Can we interview you?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh my God, I think I'm going to be on Jimmy Kimmel." And I looked at her and I go, "Jimmy Kimmel doesn't have a street team.
Yeah.
These are just a bunch of dudes trying to meet good-looking women in Hollywood."
That's what I would say too.
Yeah, you'd be like, hey, you go up to good-looking dudes, be like, hey, I'm on Jimmy Kimmel's street team. You know what you need to do? Show me your abs. And then, like, they show you your abs, and you're like, ha-ha, win again for Alex.
Yeah.
See, I already thought everything out for you. So go through the process of figuring out, like, what your look would be for this, and were you in contact with him going, this is what I'm thinking, and this is where I think we should go, or what's the process?
We don't have much of one. Typically, I say, hey, I'm free this day. And he's like, okay. And then he tells me where to meet him. And I didn't really have any. I mean, I just chose my outfit because it was what I felt comfortable in. Mm-hmm. That's typically how I choose things.
Now,
sometimes I bring like 60 different changes of clothes.
Okay.
And I never end up wearing them.
Mm-hmm.
So
but
I
stopped
doing that.
You want to feel at certain points, you just want to feel the freedom if you feel something different that you can go from there.
The only other thing I brought for this was my leather jacket. So.
Well, let me ask you a question. You weren't necessarily smiling. You were kind of giving the like, the blue steel kind of look.
He's not a huge fan of smiling.
Really? I like this guy because I'm not a huge fan of smiling in general.
That's hard for me though.
Because you want to smile.
I always want to smile, especially when people are taking photos of me. And I'm typically like, before the photo, I'm typically laughing about something or like doing something weird.
Does he say things to you like you ever see in photographers like, all right, let's hey, you're in a field and you're staring into oblivion and like all that kind of stuff?
No, not typically.
Yeah.
I think the only time he's ever said something to me was like, I forget how he put it, but like, imagine you just saw a cute guy walk into the room, something like that.
And how did your face change?
Not very much.
Yeah, I can only imagine if your face of cute guy walks in the room is just you just going, like really just being excited for 2 seconds, like it's like a squirt, like a little kid just heard like an ice cream truck.
Yeah, like the probably the face that I made when the mouse farted into the microphone. Yeah. Probably that exact same face.
There you go. So, again, you got to follow Alex on Instagram.
You really do. And you should also follow Riley Benson.
Riley Benson, great photographer. Lots of great pictures of Alex and also of other people. So, follow him. Always follow, like, great photographers, great artists, great comedians.
So many people started following me now.
Great. That's what we want.
Like photographers. So, maybe I will be for realsies model someday.
You should be. I remember one time... when I was in Connecticut School of Broadcasting, and there was this girl in our class, and just out of the blue, she sits there and goes up to another person in our class and says, "Hey, I'm going to be a suicide girl." And I had no clue what the hell that was. Yeah. And I'm just like, suicide? Like,
why did she just bring that up out of the blue? That seems really weird to me.
But I don't know. She was just very proud of it. She wanted to tell everybody that she was going to be a suicide girl.
Okay.
Now, do you know what suicide girls are?
Oh, yeah.
I do not. Or did not at that point.
Yes.
And so then, which was weird, was because she goes, I go, what is that? She goes, oh, it's like these, like it's for it's like models, but we're realer and have tattoos and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'd love to see that. She goes, oh, okay. And she whips out her phone and starts showing me. And, oh, by the way, she's naked.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was
That's the good part of it.
Yeah, that's the great part about it. But, like, it was weird because, again, we had been in class for like 6 weeks, and she's really cute. And so, obviously, I'd been like, hey, I'd love to see naked pictures of this woman, never thinking that they would happen. But then all of a sudden, it did. And I had to act cool as she handed me these photos. I'm like, oh, yeah, they look great.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's
I really like your hair in that
Yeah,
one.
I like the shadow. I like this one. And all I'm thinking of is just boobs.
Yeah.
Boobs.
Obviously.
Yeah. But I mean, like, and the thing is, you could still find her on the internet. There's like points in my mind where I just sit there and be like, oh, and I Google her name, like, there she is again. And it's
Did she continue doing it? Do you know?
A couple times. She actually was in a movie in which she got naked in, like, for Suicide Girls.
Oh man.
So big fan. She's absolutely gorgeous, and this was like 10 some odd years ago. But it's still out there, and that was just a great moment in Mike Sasson history.
My hair would be great for them.
Yes, it would be. I don't doubt that you would be absolutely. Are they still a thing?
Yeah, they're still a thing.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think would you want to be that?
I don't know. Maybe one day.
What do you mean, like when you're in your 50s or something?
When I need some more money.
When you at this point financially, you're all set.
I'm okay. Yeah, I don't need to do that yet.
Well,
I'll work up to it. I feel like I need to get my clothes modeling down first before I get to that.
See, I think that's your move, is like have 2 or 3 kids, then do the nude modeling. Because then you become like a symbol for like feminist like beauty. Be like, yeah, I got stretch marks. I got 3 kids and stuff like that. And here are my tattooed boobs. And that'd be like a big statement.
That's what I always imagined for myself.
There you go. This is why Kathy Clemens loves watching this show. Anyways,
it definitely is.
It's definitely not the reason. Anyways, thank you very much to Alex. Keep following her on Instagram. Great photos there. And occasionally, I just post pictures of me at like Steeler games eating hot dogs. Anyway, so again.
So same thing, really.
Yeah, same thing. Getting catcalled. I don't get catcalled. I just get the same woman who sits there and be like, do you have to eat all the hot dogs? I'm, yes, I do. They're good. Anyway, so we'll be back. Speaking of Alex, she's going to be going through bar thoughts and experiences in which she drinks and tells you what's going on in her life. Like right now, why is everyone acting crazy? Alex is going to tell you right after this break. It's the Mike Sasson Show on the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com. We'll be right back.
Brian Crawford letting you know that Kevin Slogic, my State Farm agent in Allison Park, is here to help life go right and reminds you that you're listening to the River's Edge Radio Network.
Come on, go! It's green! Come on! Go!
God damn it, Brian. You need to calm down with the road rage.
I'm sick of these people, these assholes.
The road rage, man. You gotta calm down on the road rage.
Well, I want to get to where we're going. We have a lot of great stuff coming up. We're going to Falling Water,
Bicycle Heaven,
the Mattress Factory,
Knob,
Trundle Manor. All right, which way do I go? Which way do I go? Come on,
right,
come on.
Right.
Too late now.
Right, come on.
Well, too late now. I gotta keep going. I'm not gonna sit here like some asshole.
Oh, come on, man.
All right, you're listening to the Culture Cruise. You can find us at riversedgepgh.com.
Your local Pittsburgh area museum podcast.
Yes, riversedgepgh.com, and come take a ride with us.
It is the Mike Sasson Show on the River's Edge, where you get the best local music and the best talk at www.riversedgepgh.com 24 hours a day, Alex.
24
hours a day. Any day. 365, 7 days a week, no breaks. We never stop the rockin'.
We stop talking.
Yeah, we stop talking. But
it's not just us.
Yeah, there's
just
more
so
talk.
You know.
But here's the thing. The River's Edge, you think certain stations, they eventually break to do a radio ad where lawyers tell you to sue your parents or whatever they're doing. Or tell you that they only take 25% of your money instead of 45%. We don't. You know what we keep doing? Rocking.
Right.
That's what we do. It's here on the River's Edge.
All day, every day.
All the day. Don't stop. Again, it's on the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com. And also, someone who never stops a rockin' is Alex. When she starts drinking, she starts putting down her thoughts. It's Bar Thoughts and Experiences with Alex. Alex, play your theme song.
Maybe y'all can relate. My style's dope any way that you slice it. Here's a fresh cut, hope that you like it.
So, Alex, what do you got for us this week on Bar Thoughts and Experiences?
Well, Mike, me and my sister have been just talking a lot these past couple days about how people in our lives have just like been a little, not crazy. We've honestly been the crazy people in our lives, but just been a little bit different than they normally are. So, and it's making us feel a little bit crazy as people.
Now, let me, just to give you a little bit of background, your sister Abby
Abby.
moved back to Pittsburgh,
Yes.
but still continuing her adventures all around the world.
Yes.
But she has been more back. So again, the dynamic duo is back in town.
Back in town and living under the same roof.
I know, it's like a sitcom. It's just unbelievable. It's two girls just out in the town in the Steel City, going out, having drinks, meeting jabronis, just going out there trying to just live their lives. And you're saying that people in your life are just acting I'll just say it, kooky.
They are acting kooky, and we can't figure it out. And so we were talking yesterday. We even explained it to our mom. And whenever we explain things to my mom sometimes, and we like talk about how much we freak out about things, my mom's just like, I don't know what to do with you girls. She says something cute like that.
She just has an apron on and she's making cookies. She
like,
just goes,
you girls.
I don't know what to make to you girls.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so
But
what do you mean by like people acting kooky?
People have just been like.
Are these like family members or just people in general?
No, just people in our lives, and they just, like have just been like kind of distant from us, and like just not being themselves towards us, and we really feel like that's weird, and we thought maybe it's like some kind of moon where all of these where men are acting strangely in our lives.
Describe the strangeness. Like, what do you mean by strange?
Well, I can't describe all of it because then I would be describing the things that people are doing wrong to me.
Well, get as close as humanly possible because I want to understand what weirdness is happening.
People are just being very distant. Maybe not responding to us as we would
expect,
as they would normally. Yeah. And
so, like, people in your life, mostly men. Mostly men.
Yes.
All men.
Mostly men.
Mostly men, not all men, but mostly
men. I don't
men.
have any women in my life. I just described the three women or the two women in my life.
Yeah. So people in your life are acting what you would say distant.
Distant, yeah.
Like they're not responding like in terms of messages. They're not like you're giving off a vibe and they're not giving back the vibe that you expect.
Yes. They're just not being themselves.
Okay.
And so we thought maybe there's a moon. So we decided to look up our horoscopes.
Okay.
This is what we did.
Okay.
So today I wanted to look up our horoscopes, Mike, and see if they tell us anything about our lives.
Alrighty.
So this is my horoscope. I am a Gemini.
Okay.
Even though I'm sure everyone already knows that.
Everyone knew that.
I'm very Gemini. If you had to guess a zodiac sign for me, you would absolutely guess Gemini.
You just
scream Gemini.
You just emit Gemini powers.
So today, my horoscope, according to astrology.com, social plans are gaining some fierce momentum in your life right now. But are they becoming too elaborate too soon? The social butterfly in you might be eager for more activities, but it also needs rest if it's going to make it for the long haul. So keep that in mind. You need to balance your fun with your responsibilities. You can step out of the planning role whenever you want to. Things are in good hands, and will go along just fine without you.
So what do you think you got from that?
Well, I mean, I did make a lot of social plans today for my week, and my week is booked full of drinking and fun.
There you go. So again, but it's saying cool off with it a little bit. I don't know.
Also, it does say this has nothing to do with me, but at the bottom of this page it says, the stars are shady as fuck this week.
Does it say fuck?
It bleeped out the you know.
All right.
But what's your birthday's coming up, right?
Yep. So I am a Libra.
A Libra.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you know, Mike. Most men don't know, and they're terrible people.
Well, first off, I appreciate that you think I'm not a terrible person. But the other thing, the reason why it became a big deal was because when I was on the Jim Krenn podcast, Jim, Mike Wasaki, Terry Jones, and myself all were Libras. We were all born within literally 3 weeks of each other.
Shit.
Yeah. So what does it say for That's why it became a big deal, is that we're all Libras.
Let's see if yours makes sense, Mike.
Okay.
Quite a few of your recent dreams have included confusing visions. Keep in mind that these hold clues about what you can accomplish. Your subconscious has been urging you to think big and take a few more risks. Unlike your conscious mind, it knows that you have the resolve, energy, and intelligence to achieve what you really want. This is a huge vote of confidence to yourself from yourself. Self-confidence doesn't get much more self-evident than that.
So it's saying that it's pretty much I have inner dreams that I want.
Yes.
But my conscious self is saying, hey, maybe you're dreaming a little too big. But you're saying that your subconscious is saying, no, Mike.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Yes.
So when I'm sitting there saying internally, hey, I want to become one of the greatest steak hoagie makers in the world and start Mike Sasson's International House of Steak Hoagies.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there going, wait, Mike, you have no money, no experience in making steak hoagies. Maybe you should cool it with the International House of Steak Hoagies. The universe is actually saying, Mike, you should go out and open that steak hoagie place.
Your subconscious is doing it. Have you had dreams about this?
About steak hoagies? Yes.
Yeah. I thought so.
But I've never stopped having dreams about steak hoagies.
So Dimitri Martin has a new comedy special on Netflix, and he has a little bit that he does about horoscopes, and he says that I'm just going to start living my life less specifically so that my horoscopes are more accurate. So he said, so tomorrow I'm going to be making choices.
There you go.
Do you want to read one of your other ones? I'll give you some choices.
Okay.
You can do your daily flirt horoscope.
Okay.
Singles love.
Okay.
Romantic.
Okay.
Sex scope.
Okay. Literally none of these have anything to do with me.
Business.
Business. Go with business.
You don't want to read your sex scope?
Fine. Read the sex scope.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to read it anyways,
I know.
no matter what you said.
I know.
Oh, gosh. This is long as fuck.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, ready?
Go ahead. It wasn't just a long laughing
It's a month.
track?
I'm sorry.
Okay. It wasn't just ha, 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 ha. That's what I assumed my sex scope
Let me
would be.
see if I can do a daily sex scope.
There you go.
No, you just have your daily flirt. All right.
Okay. What's my daily flirt say?
This is good.
Okay. Go ahead.
Your people seem to be lined up around the block looking for advice, and you're in just the right mood to play along. You may feel the need to start up a therapy practice after it's all over. How is that your flirt? Doesn't even make any sense.
Yep. Neither does my sex life, so go ahead.
Ooh. But in your monthly sex scope, it's all about you this month, Libra, especially under that silvery new moon in your own sign on October 8th. Shit. You missed it.
Damn. Again with the steak hoagies.
Okay, hold on.
I was deep into steak hoagie orgies, so I didn't get some play.
I got one for tomorrow, though.
All right.
A quarter moon on the 16th in Sex with Your Clothes On, Capricorn. What?
What?
I don't know what.
You've just blown the entire thing. I was actually listening to, because honest with you, the original horoscope was actually kind of very much part of what I am thinking about getting closer to my birthday. Every time when I'm getting close to my birthday, I evaluate my life. So I was thinking, you know what? Maybe this horoscope is telling me something. Now you're getting onto the fact that this entire website might be just full of shit.
No. I don't think it's full of shit.
Okay.
These people know what they're talking.
Okay, not unlike every other kind of people kind of deal.
There is one part in here that says a reenactment of a sexy crime isn't far behind.
What? Okay. Anyway, but does it say what kind of who does it say that I match up best with in terms of partners?
Ooh, let's see. I don't know if it does.
Because I don't. That's the the horoscope. Mike, you don't match up with anyone. You should honestly just create you should just start a vape shop / hoagie shop, and hopefully you'll get some hoagie love.
Oh, guess what?
What?
The most compatible signs with Libra are generally considered to be Gemini, Leo, Sagittarius, and Aquarius.
Isn't that half of them?
No. How many is that? 1, 2. It's 4.
Okay.
Out of 12.
And I'm 5, and so basically I can't be myself. So pretty much most.
No, you can get along with other.
So what
Libras.
what birthday is that?
Geminis are June.
Okay.
Well, end of May, beginning of June.
Okay.
Aquariuses are February.
Okay.
I don't know what the other two are because I don't care.
Okay.
I know that I get along with Aquariuses because my sister is an Aquarius.
Okay, but do you get with Libras? That's the whole key.
Do I get with them?
You get with some Libras.
Let's see.
Okay.
Libra and Gemini. Libra and Gemini. Compatibility.
This is great podcasts.
It really is.
This is great. People are fascinated by this right now.
This is the type of relationship which often makes other couples jealous. You two are so in sync, it's just not fair. On just about every level, you meet each other's needs perfectly. Really, the only downside here is the risk of wearing each other out.
Which is why in this relationship, only seeing each other for an hour a week works out.
From the Gemini viewpoint. From my viewpoint, we get along very, very well.
There you go.
And from your viewpoint, it's exactly the same.
So what you're saying, just to surmise, again, you're saying that people need to act more like themselves and quit being weird and quit being emotionally distant.
Also, really read your horoscopes and live your life exactly. So I read my horoscope yesterday. And basically, it was pretty spot on what it said. It said, relationships are the name of the game today. Starting them, keeping them, and understanding them. Guess which one is the most difficult? And I was like, oh my God, this is what's happening. And it said, one person in your life has been asking less of you, but they might be expecting more. Give them a call, or even better, invite them out for a quiet evening where you two can talk. Show them that they are important to you because they want to show how important you are to them. So I called the people. Didn't answer.
Aw, is that part of the emotional distance, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
So essentially you're saying a bunch of guys that you are, that you feel like, hey, we should be maybe, hanging out more with each other, are kind of playing a slow game, is what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh my God. During that little segment, while I wasn't watching, so many people tuned in. I was so afraid at that exact moment that it'd be like, oh, this is the people that I'm talking about. It's not. Don't worry.
Don't worry about it. But hey, that's why you watch the Mike Sasson Show. You never know what's going to happen. It's just a wild, wacky,
wild
wonderful
goose
thing.
chase. Sometimes we read horoscopes. Sometimes we talk about
mostly talk about boobs and buttholes. That's pretty much what this show is.
We already talked about farts, so we got that covered.
Well, boobs are coming up. Anyways, it's the Mike Sasson Show. Thank you very much, Alex, for your exploring. And again, if you're in Alex's life,
just reach out.
You know what? Don't be so reserved. And is your sister's the same way right now? Guys are not exactly showing what she feels is they're not being emotionally there for her.
Yeah, and just
just
be yourself. Be yourself and be honest.
Same with Abby. Abby and Alex. They're both wonderful people. They deserve good things to happen to them. So just get with it, guys. Again, thank you very much, Alex.
You're welcome.
Now it's my turn. It's Hot Takes. Thank you very much. Play Hot Takes. So here are some of my hot takes. One of the things that I've always loved is Superman. I love Superman.
No way. I had no idea.
I know. I bring him up every week. Anyways, so he has a secret identity, as most superheroes do. Now, the way they explain why they have a secret identity is because they say, well, you don't want your enemies to know who you are because they can't get to you, but they could get to the people that you care about.
Right.
I don't think that's true. I think the reason why Superman wants to make sure no one thinks he's Superman is because anyone who knows him would just ask him to do mundane shit constantly.
Right. Like if you knew, lift up.
Hey, can you help me move?
Yeah.
Can I, I'm like, no, I got things. Like, you're Superman, you could clearly clear my whole house out in 30 seconds.
That's a good point.
Like, could you imagine, like, if you knew a guy, let's say I could fly. You would sit there and be like, hey, Mike, I want to visit my sister in New York City. And be like, no, I got a thing. You're like, it would literally take you 3 seconds for you to pick me up and drop me off right at her house. I'm like, well, I got a thing. And you're like, no, you don't. Go do it right now.
Would you rather have a superpower and only live until you are 50, or not have a superpower and live until you're much older, like into your 100s?
Here's the thing. There's a good chance because of my physical size, I'm not going to make it much past that age. So I would probably say go with the superpower.
Oh.
So there you go.
Okay.
So that's why I say, personally, that's why Superman there's Supermen who are probably in your life. They just don't want to help you move.
Oh.
Big news this past weekend, the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs played a great game, 43-40. It was almost like a Madden game, so it was almost like NFL Blitz in terms of its scoring.
I love NFL Blitz.
And so I know you have. That's why I brought it up. So in one of the touchdowns, one of the New England fans, apparently there's like a club level on the field level for the in New England in Gillette Stadium. One of the Kansas City Chiefs scored a long touchdown, ran up there, and all the New England fans are flicking them off, which, you know what, that's just Boston fans. They just do this.
Right.
But one of them threw a beer in his face.
Oh, gosh.
And the New England Patriots said, we found out who it was, and we've suspended him, and he's no longer allowed in Gillette Stadium, which someone brought up is impossible to enforce. It's just them trying to essentially win the PR battle, saying, hey, there's going to be big repercussions. I mean, all you have to do is just have one of your buddies buy the ticket. You show up. You don't do anything. It's not like they're going to have, like, facial recognition for this random, scumbag in Boston, which, by the way, everyone in Boston just looks like, just more or less like people who just were dying from the potato famine. Anyways, so the thing that gets me is if you throw a beer into an athlete's face, that athlete should be allowed to call you out and in front of everybody beat the shit out of you.
I agree with that very much.
Because here's the thing. I think everybody sits there and they throw the beer or they throw the coffee or they throw the popcorn at them because they know they can't do anything. And so they could be Mr. Tough Guy because he's like, look at, I could throw. I'm like, no, new rule. You throw freaking popcorn or beer at a professional athlete. Guess what? Get over here. You, Mr. Tough Guy, stand right here and throw a beer in my face.
I would say even put them into the game. Put them into the game. Don't put any pads in them, but put them into the game. Have the whole defensive line just charge at them.
I would sit there and just say, quick, just let him beat the shit out. I want it quick and done. I don't want this guy to sit there.
I want a whole show.
You want a whole show of athletes beating the shit out of normal people?
Yeah.
I really, you know what? That actually might not be a bad show. Just sit there.
I can honestly see it existing.
There was a show called Pros vs. Joes, in which they got really in shape dudes to go up against Jerry Rice. But it was Jerry Rice in his 50s.
Right.
And Jerry Rice still kicked his ass because he's Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
But the thing that I would want is, let's just the old thing, someone will say, oh my God, it was the old days was someone would get $1 million to face Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson would beat him up in 30 seconds. But I'd fight Mike Tyson for 30 seconds. My show would be as soon as you hear that in the thing, be okay, you're going to fight him in 15 minutes.
Right.
And just get trunks on him. There's Mike Tyson in the other room and just beats the living shit out of this guy. That would be a fun show.
That's intense.
That's our show. Oh, I could do better than this guy. Really? 10 minutes from now, you're going to be playing for the Steelers. That would be fun.
Yeah.
One time there was a documentary. There was this English adventure guy. And he went to the University of Connecticut football team where I played, and he wanted to join the team and get into the game.
Super cute.
I know, and the team was
super original.
And they were like, no, we can't legally let you just get into a college. They couldn't even let him practice.
Oh wow.
Because they were like, no, we would destroy you. It would hurt a lot. And so he just got to run around the field and act like an asshole. But so that happened. So, again, if you throw beer at someone should be able to kick your ass. Anyways, I saw this. This is another hot take. I saw this. Chris Rock posted this on his Instagram. If you see it, it's a face. It says, essentially, there are great men out there. We ugly, though. And the thing that got me about this is it actually spoke, in my opinion, to a higher truth.
Oh.
Are you showing the photo?
I am.
And read again just to make sure that I didn't get it incorrect.
Good men do exist. We just ugly.
There you go. And here's how I would sit there and say, that is a great lesson for life. And what I'm saying by that is that you oftentimes get what you want in life, but you don't get everything. For instance, if you decide that you want to get a big-time foreign sports car that goes 150 miles an hour, great. You'll eventually get that, but it's going to break down every 3 months.
Right.
If you want an SUV, people are not going to be like, ooh, look at that Dodge Caravan you have. But guess what? You're going to have enough room for a lot of people and you're going to be able to move couches. You get what you want, you just don't get everything. I think it's the same thing with relationships. If you go after the Ferrari of people, understand you will get the Ferrari of people. You'll get someone who's fun. You'll get someone that'll have some great times with you. But understand you're also going to get someone who's going to break down every couple months. You're going to get someone who's going to be a little off and maybe not be as solid and be there for you as someone who is, let's say, a pickup truck or an SUV of human beings.
Yes.
So again, I think one thing you have to learn in life, and I think that's how some people get unhappy, is they get what they want, but they don't get everything. And I think sometimes you have to realize, no, you're getting what you wanted, just don't hope for everything.
I think there's good, pretty men.
Okay.
Maybe not like the Ferrari of men, but
But here's the thing. Now, I didn't say pretty men or
not
pretty
all,
women.
Not all good men are ugly.
But I would
and
say,
they're also pretty in their own way.
well, the first off, pretty and ugly is it's subjective.
Yes.
Like someone
very
who
much
is
so.
pretty for you might not be pretty for, Jennifer Lawrence.
Right.
Whereas someone that is pretty for me might not be pretty for Brad Pitt. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I would sit there and say that if all you're after is getting the most attractive human being in the world to have
Yes.
sex with you, there's a good chance that you will get the most attractive human being that you know. The problem is there's a good chance that that person might be emotionally distant
Yes.
or not exactly treat you exactly how you wanted to. So you're getting what you want, which is the most attractive person in your life to want to be with you
Right.
for a night or two, but then eventually they go off and have sex with other pretty people.
Yes.
Again, I think that's something you have to learn in life. And final thing is I saw this picture. Show this picture of this young lady who's sitting on a couch. Are you showing said picture?
I am, yes.
Could you guess from looking at her who that is?
No, my only guess was like Katy Perry.
That is Katy Perry.
Oh, damn.
That-
I'm so good at this.
That is Katy Perry in 2003. It's currently when she was like maybe 19, 20 years old, and she was living in Idaho. And it said, the caption underneath said, "I'm doing American Idol again. I'm looking for this girl." Because the thing is now you look at that person, in no way did you think that was someday going to become one of the biggest pop stars in the world.
Right, yeah.
Same thing with like Taylor Swift. I saw Taylor Swift perform at Heinz Field when she was 15 years old.
Yeah.
She was a skinny blonde girl with a guitar that looked like it was like 3 times too big for her. She performed at the 50-yard line, and out of 60,000 people at the stadium, possibly 6 were watching her.
Right.
Nowhere did anybody sit there and go, wow, someday that's going to be someone that'll sell this stadium out.
Yeah.
Or you watched Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Yeah.
No one, when they were watching that video, said, someday that's going to be one of the biggest movie stars on the planet.
Right, yeah.
Which brings me to one point that I would say to anybody that, is going after anything in life, and that is 2 things. 1, nobody knows anything.
That's
Anybody who thinks they know how to make a pop singer would be a trillionaire. They would literally just go up to every rich doctor and say, oh, you've got a daughter, I'll make her a pop singer, I'll do it. If I really knew how to do it, fine, give me $1 million and I'll make your little girl who lives in, Wexford into a pop singer.
Right.
You don't know. But the second thing, and this is the most frustrating thing about the entertainment industry, and it's the same thing about life, no matter how hard you work, you can't force someone to love you.
That's very true.
You can't sit there and say, oh, I'm going to work so hard that eventually I'm going to get everyone to want to listen to my comedy or listen to my song or watch my movie. You can't do it. You just kind of have to go from the heart and figure it out from there, because, again, when you look at that picture of, 18-year-old Katy Perry sitting on a dirty couch, no one could have gone up to him like, hey, right there is the biggest pop star in the world in 10 years.
Right.
They would have just been, oh, she's going to cut stringy hair,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. Again, nobody knows, but also the frustrating part, you can't make someone fall in love with you. That was Hot Takes. Coming up, a very interesting anniversary was this past weekend, the 35th anniversary of Cyndi Lauper and her debut album, She's So Unusual, which I wasn't aware is one of the most successful debut albums in the history of recorded music.
I was also not aware
I
of
was
that.
not aware of that, but we'll go over that because I had Alex watch some of her favorite videos from there, that era, and talk about Cyndi Lauper in our segment Fresh Eyes, and then we'll go into news and notes, and then we'll end the show, and then we'll go on with our lives. It's the Mike Sasson Show. You're listening to The River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com. We'll be right back. Again, you are listening to the Mike Sasson Show on the River's Edge. Thank you again to everyone who listens to the River's Edge and to the Mike Sasson Show. We appreciate each and every one of you. And I say from the bottom of my heart, and I think Alex would say the same thing, we love you.
We do.
There you
I will say that, yes.
Yeah, we love our listeners. Unlike other shows, like especially on terrestrial radio, I'll be honest with you, those people hate you. They look down on you. They think you're scum.
Well, damn.
We love you, and that's why you listen to us. And you also listen to us because we have great segments like Fresh Eyes, where we play this song, which I'm not a huge fan of. Go ahead, Alex.
One day you're going to be like, you know, Alex, I don't mind that song. It's finally caught on. Yep.
No. Anyways, so speaking of things that caught on, I was not aware of this. You know, one time when I go through my Instagram, a lot of times Rolling Stone shows like anniversaries of certain albums and everything like that. And this past week, on October 14th, 1983, was the 35th anniversary, then making me feel very, very old, of what was one of the most successful debut albums in the history of recorded music, which was Cyndi Lauper's She's So Unusual. A couple things about this album. The album is primarily new wave based with many songs influenced by synth pop and pop rock. Upon its release, the album received positive reviews from music critics who noted Lauper's unique vocals. Lauper earned several awards and accolades for the film, including 2 Grammy Awards, one of which for Best Artist. She's So Unusual peaked at number 4 on the Billboard 200 and stayed in the top for 40 for 6 weeks. It sold over 6 million copies in the U.S. and 16 million copies worldwide. And also was the first album ever by a female artist, their debut album, that had 5 top 40 hits. And we start with its most famous song.
Well, hell yeah.
Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Yeah.
I showed the video, which again was one of those videos that if you were watching MTV in the early 80s was like it played every hour.
Oh, I can only imagine. I feel like if MTV still had music videos on now, it would probably play at least once a day.
They would still play it once a day. Now, you've heard of Cyndi Lauper?
Yeah, I love Cyndi Lauper.
Okay, have you ever seen this video?
I've never seen any of her videos. I don't watch music videos, so it's a pretty good chance that I've never seen them.
So you watched the first video for Girls Just Want to Have Fun, which is one of the anthems of the 1980s.
Yeah, I mean, it's the anthem all the time.
Yeah, of all time.
Girls do just want to have fun.
There you go. Now, one thing I always love about this song, the song was first recorded by 1979 by American musician Robert Hazard. It is better known as a single by American singer Cyndi Lauper. It was written by a guy from actually a guy's perspective.
Yes.
And the thing that I love about it is if you actually listen to the lyrics, it's about a guy who's living at home with his mom and basically going out every night and getting laid.
Yeah.
And so the mom's just like, oh, why don't you settle down? And he's sitting there going, oh, Mom, don't you get it? Girls just want to have fun. Like they don't want to have married. They don't want to get married. They just want to screw. It's weird how all you have to do is just kind of, again, change the perspective of the singer, which, again, comes back to the whole point of how important a singer is to a song and how they sell it to where it became very kind of just from a female perspective, a very kind of empowering, almost feminist anthem type deal.
And just fun, make you want to dance.
I know. It was a very fun, and she was fun, make you want to dance. Now, the first video, I thought that you would kind of make fun of it because the production qualities were like bad for even 1984.
I fucking love this video.
You love this. What did you love about this video?
I want to reenact this whole video. Absolutely. And it makes me a little bit sad that my hair was almost like the same color as Cyndi Lauper's at one point, and now it's not.
Yeah.
Everything about this video was amazing. Like it basically just looks like, hey, let's get drunk and like stumble around a lot and like we'll call it a music video. You know, that's basically all she's doing.
Well, one of the shots that I thought was just so guerrilla, like video ways, was they clearly did not get permission for like the scene where Cyndi Lauper and her friends are going through like the middle of a New York like scene and they're like pushing on all the guys. That clearly wasn't set up. You can see that they just kind of got a bunch of guys and be like, all right, these girls are going to come walking in singing a song. Just stand there.
Yeah.
And you could see the look on their face like, what the hell is this? I don't even know
It's
what this is.
perfect. It's so good. That's literally what I feel like they did. They're like, all right, we're going to do this today.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to take a couple shots beforehand and we're going to just film a music video and we're just going to do whatever we want.
The other thing that I thought was interesting, and I did not know this, is that, again, Cyndi Lauper, there was the story that at one point she lost her voice and she had like polyps on her like vocal cords.
Yeah.
She was 30 years old when this was released.
Yeah.
She was not a spring chicken. So
Right.
again, you'd think it goes back to nobody knows anything. Like if you were to pick, okay, who's going to be a big-time pop singer in the age of music videos? A 30-year-old redheaded woman from Astoria, Queens was not someone that you probably would have picked.
Right, yeah.
And again, but she was like a really huge thing in the 1980s, so much so that I remember watching Martha Quinn, who was one of the original VJs, talking about that at the time. Girls almost had to pick whether you were a Cyndi Lauper or you were a Madonna.
Right.
And like Madonna meant you were more sexy and more into the boys, and Cyndi Lauper meant you were kind of just more into the girls and more into fun, and you were kind of crazy and stuff like that. And so I assume at the time you would have been more into. You would have said, "I'm a Cyndi Lauper."
Hell yeah.
But
yeah, I think she does a little. I mean, like obviously Madonna like did whatever she wanted to, but it felt more like constricted to me than Cyndi Lauper does. She's like just a nut in all the right ways.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. And then the thing is that her dad in all of these videos was Captain Lou Albano.
Yeah, yeah.
Who was a wrestling manager at the time. And so she actually did get into like the world of professional wrestling. Yeah. Which is, I mean, like you talk about just like, I don't really give a damn. Again, like one of the most 80s things. Like if there's one thing that I would sit there and say is the 80s in one sentence, it's we didn't give a fuck. That's the 1980s for both good and bad.
Yeah. There's a lot of bad.
There's a lot of bad, but it really was just like, we don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
we'll wear what we want to wear. We'll play what we want to play.
Just
crazy ass whatevers. Now, the second video, again, is a song that's still played on like Hot AC and everything like that, time after time. Now, you could tell that she's become a hit and she's now got more money. And so this became more of like, it looked like it was shot on film. Yeah. And it had a story and all that other kind of good stuff. What did you think of the video?
Have I ever told you my time after time story?
I have not. You have not. Go ahead.
So when I was in 8th and 9th grade, I took singing lessons. Mm-hmm. Did I ever tell you that?
I think you told me that you did take some.
So I took singing lessons for 2 years because I don't know. I thought that maybe would help me.
To help you with what?
Singing.
Well, singing lessons would help you with singing.
Yeah, well, they would if I had any kind of musical ability. Okay. I did not.
Okay. Because you also did dance for a long time.
Yes. I mildly improved at dance throughout my 16 years of doing it.
Okay.
2 years of singing lessons did not help my singing ability.
Okay.
But, I pushed through it. And at the end of the year, when I took my singing lessons, they made you do a recital in front of a bunch of people. You had to sing by yourself in front of a room of people. And I could do anything else by myself in a room full of people, but singing was not one of them, and it freaked me out. So this one time I was doing my singing recital, and I had pink eye. I was like just in the beginnings of pink eye, and I was singing time after time, and I just fucking butchered it. It was terrible. And
Does this video exist?
I'm still trying to find it because it's been I've told the story a lot like in the past couple months. So I'm really, really trying to find it right now. But I cried so much after that. It was terrible because we had to leave immediately after I got off stage to go to the doctor to get like a prescription like for antibiotics for my pink eye.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember just sitting in the Giant Eagle parking lot, like I wouldn't go into Giant Eagle, and just sitting in the car like crying my eyes out because of how badly I did.
You really felt you did that badly? I bet you if you
I
listened,
did that badly.
do people agree who listen to you?
Yeah.
Like even your mom and dad who are like, oh, you sucked.
Yeah, they agree.
They agree that you were terrible. What do you think? Why do you think you did all the? I mean, like you said, you tried track and you didn't do real well. You said.
No, I did terribly.
Okay, you tried dance. You think you did it for that long?
I mean, I did pretty well at dance.
Hey, I mean,
not like amazingly, just okay.
Would you say you're not that good of an athlete though?
I'm not. I'm not very coordinated in anything.
Really, that's interesting. So, I mean, like, but you did dance, and you say, but you still don't think you're a decent athlete. Then you took singing lessons, because do you think that even at a young age you wanted to be a performer, and now maybe you're finding what you really need to do to become a performer, which was essentially just get on the radio and just start talking shit?
Well, yeah, but I also still, I really wanted to have some kind of musical ability. That's always been a dream of mine.
I would sit there and say, especially when, the thing about being able to play a musical instrument, it really is like a magic trick. And so it is one of those things, I watch a great guitarist.
Yeah.
And I sit there and I'd be like, you know what? It would be really cool to be able to plug in an amp and play a ripping guitar solo in front of people. That would be really, really, because I think I have simultaneously the most difficult art form and the least respected art form.
I can understand that, yeah.
Because everyone assumes that the two least respected art forms in the world are stripping and stand-up comedy. Both because...
What about magic? Do you consider that an art form?
Here's a little secret about magic. I know magicians and musicians. And the thing about magicians is a lot of them buy their acts.
Whoa.
So you can, if you've got enough money... to get a good trick. I'm not talking about one that you do at parties. I'm talking stuff that you could actually do in front of other people. If you've got a couple $1,000s, you can buy yourself an act.
Do you want to save up money to buy us an act?
No. I have an act for free.
Are you sure?
Because
that seems like a pretty good idea for our show.
I can do magic?
Let's fundraise. And we'll do a crazy magic trick.
Well, okay, yeah, and saw each other in half or something like that. Yeah, I would not be against sawing you in half.
Okay, cool.
And we would both wear sequin stuff.
Yes, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I think always you've just wanted to be a performer, Alex.
I think so. I took piano lessons. I bought a ukulele once. I really wanted to be musically talented.
But
I think I just really wanted to make music videos so I could be like Cyndi Lauper.
There you go. And then the last video, which was one that I had kind of forgotten about, but it was a very big hit, She Bop.
It was fucking terrible.
Which, by the way, though, again, 8-year-old Mike completely went over his head, was totally about masturbation.
See, it went over my head.
It said the masturbatory bingo, and it talks about...
I was just so bored by this video and how much I hated it.
You just felt it was... I mean, again, I think... The first video was fun because no one had really figured it out. The second video was very nice because it was a great pop song. And
I didn't like the second video.
You didn't really like the second video?
It was trying to tell a story too much. When they're trying to do exactly kind of what's in the song and be... I don't like when people tell stories like that.
Yeah.
It's not as good.
I think you're wrong. And then the third is, very kind of... They had too much money at that point. Because there's animation in it, and they're commenting on fast food, and all the people are clones.
It was just too much.
Yeah, it's sometimes what happens with artists where they sit there and their first stuff is their best stuff because again they're out there and they don't care. Then they get a little bit of money, and then that was the big success. Time After Time was the big #1 hit and everything like that. And then She Bop was clearly they had so much money that they could go up to the record company and say, we need $4 million to do. It's like when the first time we did this was Guns N' Roses. Their best videos were early on when they were just the raw Guns N' Roses. But then once they got $20 million to do a 10-minute music video, it was too much.
And then they're like, oh, we can make all of our stupid, weird ideas into a reality just because we have the money, you know?
And no one is willing to tell them no because, again, at the time, they're just the biggest musical stars in the world.
Yeah, and you can do whatever you want. And I think, Cyndi Lauper, you went too far.
That's why you wanted to learn how to sing so much, because you wanted to sit there and become someone who could eventually do a music video in which everyone would go, what the hell was that?
I want to do a Girls Just Want to Have Fun music video.
I
That
think you
looks
should
like
do it.
so much fun. And they have like the party at the end, you know? And it's just like, there's not really any other, like, you can't really, besides movies, like if you were an actor, there's really no other time in your life where you get to do things like that.
Yeah.
You know, like just have a fake party for no reason and like film it and have fake fun, you know?
I would sit there and say that I offer my services as the Captain Lou Albano character,
Oh, good.
which I think
Thank
I'm
you.
perfect. Which I think I'm perfect for.
We're going to reenact it.
There you go. Anyways, thank you very much, Alex, for your take on Cyndi Lauper.
Hell yeah, Mike.
There we go. Now we move on to news and notes from the world of gossip, sports, and all sorts of cool stuff.
It all starts now.
So last week we talked about Louis C.K.'s return to stand-up comedy. Well, it actually kind of hit close to home for me. So a friend of mine, Robert Puncher, who's from Butler, Pennsylvania,
That sounds familiar.
who lives up in he was a friend of a comic, Dylan Weston.
Oh, okay. That
And
sounds familiar.
so he basically does a show up in New York City. And so he was just showing like a video and a couple things. He's like, hey, so we had a great show, blah, blah, blah. And Louis C.K. showed up. And I'm just like, that's like the most New York thing that I've ever heard in my life, to where basically it's like, you know, again, Louis C.K. just shows up to essentially a glorified open mic.
Right.
So, again, that's why you do comedy in New York.
I
But-
like that. I like how casually that was. Oh yeah, and Louis C.K. showed up. You know.
Yeah, we had a
you
great,
know.
but that's how they did it on the video. It's like, hey, we had a really great time. You know, we had a great comic. Louis C.K. dropped in, did a couple minutes. And so the thing was the thing that was interesting is they mentioned it. It's West Side Comedy Show. And so this is from Laugh Spin, because Louis C.K. performed this week at the West Side Comedy Club, Caroline's, and again at the Comedy Cellar. One comedian, President Caroline, said he mostly talked about getting old and wonder if gay guys miss when it was bad to be gay. He continued avoid talking much about misconduct or any personal growth, though he did open with, good to be here even though some of you might not like me. Comedian shared, he all said was he took time off because it's good to take time off.
Oh.
So again, he's not really kind of getting into the reason why, whatever. Things took a turn Wednesday at the West Side Comedy Club. He finally mentioned the massive masturbating elephant in the room. According to the show's producers, they received word from the club that the legendary stand-up will be dropping in close to 8 p.m. He said he had been to hell and back. A comedian on the lineup shared, who hosted, said it wasn't like he skipped a beat a year. He was genuine and reflecting on how everything was going. He was much more confident, and he says it's been a weird year. He continued talking about he had been to hell and back, joking that while he was in hell, he had met Hitler. Multiple comedians hanging out said night he seemed more authentic and real. From a source, his Wednesday set addressed getting booed on the streets and how everyone hates him. And then he said, I lost $35 million in an hour. This audience apparently loved it, the way he was more unrealistically guarded and set just a few days earlier, though the comics hanging out were laughing harder than the audiences, say the source. So, couple things. It seems like we talked about last week that he is progressing
Yes.
toward getting closer to actually talking about
He's just working it out.
But one thing that I'm not a fan of is he sits there and it seems like he's going towards the, oh, woe is me, this is what happened to me, as opposed to, hey, I fucked up. I'm a piece of shit. I really need to say sorry to everybody, and this is why I did these horrible things.
Right, yeah.
Because I was thinking about this when I was watching this. I'm like, this is a guy who, if a guy comes up, let's say, for instance, you worked for Louis C.K. And basically Louis C.K. even asked you, says, hi, person who works for me, Can I masturbate in front of you?
Right.
Now all of a sudden you're in this position of like, okay, I can't, this is a job of a lifetime. I can't, like, this guy literally almost runs comedy at this point, especially if I'm in New York. And now you're in the humiliating position of watching some middle-aged fat guy jerking his wiener.
Right.
And that's humiliating. I couldn't even fathom being that humiliated. And he's talking about the fact that, oh, I lost $35 million in an hour and I've been to hell and back and it's been a weird year, as opposed to really getting to the part of the matter of like, I am a piece of shit.
Right.
And here's why all of these things that quote unquote happened to me, I did to myself.
Right. And really own it, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully he gets to that point, but at this point it looks like he hasn't. Another thing, a person who has not gotten to the point of really owning up is Hillary Clinton.
Oh.
Hillary Clinton did an interview for CBS this past weekend in which someone talked about her husband and Monica Lewinsky in the kind of focus about the Me Too movement. And someone said, hey, do you feel that your husband having the affair with Monica Lewinsky was a huge abuse of power?
Yeah.
And she said, no, she was an adult. That is, people were like...
That's a terrible answer.
Yeah, it's the worst possible answer.
Say anything else.
Yeah. She was a 22-year-old intern working in the White House, and your husband was the president of the United States.
Right.
It was pretty much a dictionary definition of abuse of power. This woman worked for you. And by the way, it would be one thing if she was a 22-year-old who worked somewhere else and somehow they got hooked up or something like that. She obviously has something for government since she works and she wants to be an intern in the White House.
Right.
And for her not to sit there and say, all she had to say is, my husband did a terrible thing and ultimately we've dealt with it as a married couple, but it was a horrible thing, as opposed to justifying it saying, no, it wasn't an abuse of power because of the fact that, you know, she was an adult. Again, it really made it sit there. It's like, it was one of those things, as soon as you like saw that, you're like, ooh.
How about I found a baseball card the other day, a Bill Clinton baseball card. Mm-hmm. Isn't that great?
What, Bill Clinton. You know, you realize he never actually played baseball.
What?
No.
He's my favorite baseball player.
No, he wasn't. Now, another person that is kind of getting under fire a little bit is Whoopi Goldberg.
Why? I've seen Whoopi Goldberg before.
In person?
I mean, she was in front of me, not like in front of me, but like she was on a stage in front of me. She introduced the Dalai Lama at an event that I was at.
Oh, there you go. Well, she's kind of getting in a little bit of trouble because in a speech that she gave over the weekend, she talked about the Harvey Weinstein and everything like that. And a quote came by, says, it's like if some guy said to me, we're going to have a meeting up in my hotel room, you don't fucking go. You don't go. And if you do, cop to it. Say, that's right, I went up there, had sex with an ugly-ass man so I could get an Oscar and a Tony. Am I talking about myself? No. We have to teach young women better.
People should just stop talking altogether.
Yeah, people...
Just don't comment on anything.
Yeah, really just...
And if you do something bad, just tell them and then just... That's it.
Yeah,
just
that sounds a lot like blaming the victim.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot like, that you of course Harvey Weinstein was going to sexually assault you. You went up to his room.
Right, yeah.
How dare you think that a man who runs a studio could possibly want to have a meeting with somebody about something?
Right.
Of course he offered you to have a meeting with him. He was going to have sex with you, moron.
Right.
By the way, if that's written without the total huge amount of sarcasm, that sounds terrible.
Right, yes.
But again, that's totally... And then the other thing about it, which proves again that, Whoopi Goldberg, I think, is in her 60s and sometimes things have changed. Neil Patrick Harris was on The View this past week. And Neil Patrick Harris apparently did a movie with Whoopi Goldberg. And Neil Patrick Harris was like 15 at the time. And during their the rap party... Whoopi Goldberg went up to Neil Patrick Harris and said, in 10 years, I'm going to have sex with you.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And again, jokingly, but Neil Patrick Harris didn't take it, obviously knew it as a joke and all this kind of stuff. But it was almost and they almost said to each other, goes, yeah, it was a different time. And you could say different stuff.
Right.
But
yeah,
again,
you couldn't say that
you
now.
Can't,
sadly, I mean.
Yeah, sadly at 20... That's one thing that, like, could you imagine? Like, okay, you go up to like a 14-year-old boy and be like, "Hey, in 10 years, you and me."
Right.
That boy would probably just be like, "I want to be big someday." But again,
that's exactly what would happen.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that because I went to a high school volleyball game last week.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's weird I'm not around, 15-year-old boys all the time. And it's weird to think about, like, oh, we honestly that could happen. I could have sex with a person, not have a person who's 15, but in 10 years, when they are, 25.
Well, I was thinking about that. It was a weird thing because Sean McDowell from WDVE posted a picture. You know that giant apartment building on Mount Washington?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, apparently Johnny Carson's last wife is from Pittsburgh.
Oh.
So Johnny Carson bought her an apartment there so that when she visits Pittsburgh to visit her parents, she'd have a place to stay.
How nice.
Again, that's what happens when you have Johnny Carson level scratch.
Right.
But the thing is that Johnny Carson and her were 26 years different in terms of age. So she's still 66 years old. She's still alive, and she still shows up there every once in a while, and she's still kind of going around. And he died when she was like 53.
Right.
So again, you're 53 years old, not that old, and your husband's dead.
I mean, just think about the fact that, like, when he was 26, so like my age now, if I look at a baby and I'm like, that baby's gonna be my husband someday.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one thing that's always weird in a sense that, well, I mean, I sometimes think when I go like, what was our age difference? Like, what, 17 years?
Are you making me do math?
Okay, how old are you? 26?
25.
25, and I'm 41?
Yes.
So, okay, when I was in high school, I go into a baby, that's my co-host,
Yeah.
But
I mean, I look at babies all the time and think those things.
You sit there and be like, haha, you and me someday.
Yep.
Ooh, look at the bone structure on that infant. Mm-hmm. Yeah, get that number.
That's terrible.
I know, it's terrible.
Stop this.
We should stop it. But you know what?
It's just as bad as Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg going up to 15-year-old Neil Patrick. It's probably what turned him gay. No, but we'll go from there. Speaking of things that are awful, Amy Winehouse has been dead for a couple years, but apparently there's not enough money made off her corpse at this point because her parents are now going to start a worldwide tour in which Amy Winehouse's hologram is going to perform live throughout the world.
Holy shit. So this is like the first person that's gonna do this.
Yes. So you're gonna, if you have never seen Amy Winehouse, you're gonna be able to see Amy Winehouse's hologram perform live.
I don't know how to feel about this. I don't.
Okay, let me ask you a question. So let's say who's your favorite dead artist at this point?
I don't know.
Like most of the people, I mean,
let's say Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. If Johnny Cash is saying, hey, at PPG Paints Arena, Johnny Cash's hologram, backed up by his band, is gonna perform, and it's the closest you're ever gonna get to seeing Johnny Cash perform live.
I wouldn't do it.
I think it's a little different because Amy Winehouse died young, and it's her parents doing this.
Yeah.
It'd be another thing if Johnny Cash died when he was supposed to. Like, he didn't die when he was 20.
Right, but still, like, it's one of those things. Like, I wouldn't want to go just because, like, you're not really getting that real experience.
But it's as close as you're gonna get because they're dead.
Yeah, I'd rather just not do it at all, I think. And just live with the fact that I never saw that person.
I know. It's weird because, like, for instance, I could see if, let's say, again, how great technology could be in a couple years. I mean, if somehow, some way, in, let's say, 10 or 20 years, you could watch in their prime the Beatles. You could see 1966 Beatles right in front of you. It will look exactly the same. You will see John Lennon. I don't know if, again, it might be like, we already have a situation where they're getting to the point to where they can put like dead actors' faces on there to where like John Wayne can perform with, in a modern movie. And so, like, again, you could have John, it's weird.
It's so much.
There's so much that could happen in the future that we're going to have to make decisions on whether we want it to happen.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, as long as like eventually one day when we die, they can still,
Do a Mike Sasson show?
Yeah, they just like cut up
Could you
like little
imagine-
pieces of our voices
Yeah.
and like make new shows out of it
Yeah.
every week, but based off of old stuff that we said.
Here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna die. I'm gonna die way before you.
You don't know that.
I'm pretty sure. But anyways, but the thing is, could you imagine if someone goes up to you and goes, all right, the show is way popular, Alex. We have a way to create a hologram mic.
Sounds much better.
Yeah.
Please. Could
yeah.
we have done this before you
Yeah,
said?
we've just you get rid of me and be like, Mike, I'll be honest with you. I have a hologram you, way less creepy, way less stories about like weird stuff.
And I don't even have to talk to them afterwards.
Yeah, I just dissolve into nothing.
Yep.
And you're like, perfect, thank you. Why couldn't we do this back at the beginning? Speaking of something that's perfect that might be ruined, millennials are ruining something else apparently.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
We've never done that before.
I know. I mean, there's a whole big thing that millennials are ruining everything great, but one of the things that they're ruining is American cheese.
I think that's okay.
Apparently, people are no longer putting American cheese on burgers because they say millennials, they want different types of cheese. And so the American cheese people, like the Kraft people, are like, we're eating our lunch because we can't get the kids to eat American cheese.
Well, how do you feel about this?
I don't really care because I don't own Kraft, but I guess
I mean, I think we're just bettering the world, to be honest.
But
do
I
we
think
need American cheese?
but
Why
I mean,
can't we have fun cheese?
You think you have enough fun cheese without American cheese?
Yeah.
But I think, to be honest with you, like a cheeseburger, a melted cheeseburger is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
American cheese on an Egg McMuffin, pretty damn good.
See, cheeseburger's really the only place I think I would.
You don't like
miss
cheese
it.
on your egg sandwich?
I don't eat egg sandwiches.
You're missing out. They're pretty good.
Eggs make me sick.
I
Cheese makes me sick.
Really? Well, maybe again.
Bread makes me sick.
See, again, everything makes you sick. That's a typical millennial. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm allergic to everything. Blah blah blah.
I'm not allergic to everything. I just recognize what makes me feel most terrible in my life.
So you're saying let American cheese die?
Yeah, I don't think that the world would be a terrible place without it.
There you go. That's why millennials are, again, speaking of the right from the mouth of millennial, let American cheese die. Speaking of someone else who might need to pass away, imagine you were on a plane.
Okay.
And again, someone calls ahead and says, hey, I need to bring my emotional support animal on. And they go, okay, fine, legally we can't stop you. Whatever.
Right.
And all of a sudden you're sitting there, you got to go to a flight. And the way especially if you're out of Pittsburgh, you got to take 3 connecting flights if you're going anywhere. And so everything needs to match up perfectly or your whole day's ruined. And then you see some crazy lady come in with their emotional support squirrel.
Aw.
Not awe. You can't control a squirrel. So guess what? Now the plane is sitting there going, well, you can't take off with an emotional support squirrel. She goes, no, this is my thing that makes it that I can get through the day. And so all of a sudden it took them 2 hours to get the emotional support squirrel lady off the plane so everyone didn't get to Cleveland until 3 hours later.
Okay, well, that's annoying.
But that's the
But
point.
I think an emotional support squirrel sounds fucking adorable.
You can't control a squirrel. It's a wild animal. It's not like
You
an
can
emotional
control
support dog.
dogs.
Dogs are not wild animals.
So you
They're
can
destined.
eventually,
You think you could train a squirrel?
yes.
You cannot train a squirrel.
I absolutely think you can train a
I
squirrel.
want you to try to train a squirrel.
I'm not going to train a squirrel, but you see people have like all kinds of different pets, and they.
But they're more
if you-
domesticated.
If you
I don't care if you
raise
have
them,
a pet squirrel, but if you bring a squirrel into a tube that's going to fly in the air, it's not going to work well.
I mean,
Again, squirrels they're zigzaggy type animals. You just can't sit there and just hope it sits in its seat and just eats nuts.
I
It's
think
not gonna
that if
do
you
that.
raise any animal from basically birth, that you can train it to basically do whatever you want.
You really think if you got a baby squirrel, like right out of the mom, you could train it to just sit on a plane and just read the in-house magazine and watch the movie?
Yeah, I mean, you see you see other animals like people do that
Okay,
with.
name an animal similar to a squirrel, not a dog.
I just saw a video the other day
Okay.
where someone had a pet raccoon.
And it brought it on a plane.
No, it didn't go on a plane,
But
but
that's the
it
point.
acted just like a dog.
Okay.
So if you could bring a dog on a plane and you had an animal that acted just like a dog, yeah, you could bring it on
I
a
think
plane.
squirrels. I mean, I'm a little hesitant about the whole raccoon thing, especially since I think we've all agreed we call them trash pandas now.
No, I'm still calling them raccoons.
I'm calling them trash pandas. Anyways, the squirrels are very zigzaggy animals. They're not sedentary animals. Raccoons, they're trying to find garbage, but if you find them when they're eating garbage, they're not zigzagging everywhere. They're just, you feed it garbage, it'll do anything you want.
I don't agree.
I disagree with you.
Who knows what dogs were like before we domesticated them?
But dogs have been domesticated for like millennia.
Yeah.
We've worked on them for a while.
Right.
You're claiming one squirrel since a baby, you could make it be
I think a lot of people have squirrel pets.
Not on planes. Anyways, moving on. When I saw this, was a scumbag maneuver, but I've been in a place to where I think it would be tough to turn down. There was an AutoZone in Georgia, in which this woman got a estimate that she needed to fix her brakes, and it was like $800.
Yes.
So there was a guy in a truck who apparently went up to the woman and said, "Hey, what's wrong with the car?" She's like, "Hey, I got to get new brakes. It's $800." He says, "Oh, I'll fix your brakes. I'll do it for $200, which is just the parts. You just have to perform some sex acts on me."
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. I've been in a place financially where I wouldn't have completely eliminated that out of hand.
Right. You at least hesitate if.
Yeah, it's not like get out of my face. It's just been like, wait, what kind of work do you do?
Right.
I wouldn't want him to fix my brakes after I performed a sex act on him, and then all of a sudden 2 months later I got to get new brakes.
Yeah, what's the warranty?
Yeah, exactly. What kind of warranty do you have for your, the sex act brakes? Yeah, but I'm serious. Have you been in a place where someone has said, "Hey, I'll get you 4 new tires. You just gotta,
No one ever gives me offers like that.
No one ever gives you offers like that? I think they assume you got the money.
Is that what it is?
I think you walk in there.
Or do they assume that I would turn them down?
You think that they found this woman and they said, "Okay, that's a woman that's desperate enough and hideous enough to where she would perform sex acts on us for free brakes."
I mean, it's basically like going on dates, You go out on a date with someone and you perform sex acts on them and they buy you dinner, Same
but it's
thing.
not, the agreement is not in a date that, hey, for the dinner, I'm going to perform a sex. Now, let me ask you this question. That's always been the $100 million question, that
God.
women, when they're ordering, are giving you the signal on whether the night will end with sex.
How do you mean?
Like if they order something super expensive or something like that they they're giving hey, trust me, this is going to end well for you. Don't freak out.
Oh my God,
the
I'm
surf
giving
and turf.
everyone the wrong ideas.
Because you order the most expensive thing on the menu?
And then I pay for it.
See, the paying for it indicates that nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, and I'm giving everyone the wrong signals.
I know. I think this is where we go back to the point of...
I'm very honest with people, so
Yeah.
I don't think that I'm giving people the wrong signals.
You put in the menu, okay, I'm paying for half. We're having sex, but I'm just paying for half.
Right, yeah. That's basically it. I have a little disclaimer before you go on a date with me.
Yeah. You give them a card. It's just understand...
This is what's going to go down.
This is going to happen. All you're performing right now is how enthused I am during the act and whether I'm sleeping over.
Right. Yeah, sure.
That's all that's happening.
Yeah.
You give them a big long contract, or you send them an email.
Yeah.
To where it's okay, this is what's going to happen, but I feel weird about you paying for it.
Yep.
Again, I think that
people are very open to it.
People are very open to it, especially if you just know it'd be weird if you just know at the beginning, yeah, we're not, or yeah, we are, and then eventually it's well, let's enjoy the tacos.
Right.
But then
we don't have to worry about anything.
But as a guy, I would then definitely want to make sure that I have the least gassy sexual act, to where now all of a sudden if you say to me, "Hey, Mike, we're going to have sex," I'm like, okay, then maybe Mexican isn't what I want to go with.
Oh.
I want to maybe go with something a little less, maybe my stomach isn't going to be as...
Oh, boo.
Yeah.
Take the risk, Mike.
Take the risk that we're going to be in a sex act and all of a sudden it's like...
Mm-hmm. I would take that risk.
Then
For
tacos,
tacos,
it would.
yeah.
For tacos, it would. Speaking of something that you take the risk for, I didn't know that this much cocaine existed anymore. Apparently, off the coast of Los Angeles, they found a giant, tanker ship filled with 11 tons of cocaine.
I can't even fathom how much that is.
$87 million worth of cocaine.
Where was this going?
It was outside of Los Angeles, so I'm assuming Los Angeles.
Huh.
I didn't know that. Again, that sounds very 1986-ish.
Imagine the field day that those investigators had when they found all that coke.
That looks like a movie. Could you imagine that, when they find the whole?
They'll probably make a movie about it.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be lame too. They have to make stuff up about it. But I always
Mark Wahlberg will be in it.
Oh, Mark Wahlberg, and then they're gonna probably have to do the thing, which I never get. No one's ever explained it to me. Where he opens up a little bit and then he takes a little bit and he does the pinky.
Oh, right, yeah.
And he goes, that's cocaine.
Is this $87 million worth of cocaine?
Yeah.
Let me see real quick.
Yeah, they open it up but always with the little pinky, and then you just go, it's cocaine. I never understood.
This isn't sugar.
Yeah,
What?
I never understood. I guess cocaine tastes different. By the way, if you're watching this, even if it's after we're recording this live, post what cocaine tastes like on your tongue. Is it bitter? Is it whatever? I don't know. I've never, but that and always with lifting up the sheet where the dead person is.
Are they dead? Oh,
yeah.
Yep. Okay.
They always sit there and the cop has the cough cuppy or whatever that. The cup of coffee.
Yes.
And they lift it up and they're just yep, dead person. I always think they're just trying to look at some naked boob.
Yeah.
They're
definitely.
just boob. And then they're like, my life is not as bad as always. But $87 million in cocaine.
Send that over here.
What would you do with 80s? I would just be. It's always whenever you watch a movie where they're going to steal the Mona Lisa. I'm like, how are you getting rid of the Mona Lisa?
Right. What are you doing with it after you get it?
You get the Mona Lisa, and then all of a sudden
you would be forced to do all of the drugs.
Yeah, you would just have a lot of drugs.
Which is fine. You have a lifetime supply of cocaine.
Does cocaine go bad?
And then you pass it on to your
heirs.
Yeah, and then they're like, hell yeah, we're just a cocaine family now. We don't sell it, we just do it.
Yeah,
that's part of, you have to do cocaine if you're part of this family.
I don't want to do cocaine. Mom, don't make me do cocaine. You do cocaine right now. You're a Clemens and you do cocaine.
Yep, 6 months old. That's when they start.
Yeah, there you go. You have the most hyper baby in the history of the world. We're gonna finish with this. This was a little bit sad, but they're rebooting a bunch of TV shows now. Murphy Brown and Roseanne and all this other kind of stuff. And so someone approached Mr. What's his name again? Michael Scott.
Oh, for The Office?
Yeah. What's his name? He was in Pittsburgh.
Steve Carell.
Steve Carell. Yeah. Well, they approached Steve Carell and said, "Hey, would you ever reboot The Office?" And he's like, "No, my career is going well." And so
I feel like it hasn't been long enough.
I don't know. But here's what he said. He goes, "The climate's different." He says, "I mean, the whole idea of the character Michael Scott, so much of it is predicated on inappropriate behavior. I mean, he's certainly not a model boss. A lot of what is depicted on the show is completely wrong-minded. That's the point, But I just don't know how it would fly now. There's a very high awareness of offensive things today, which is good for sure. But at the same time, when you take a character like that too literally, it doesn't really work."
Yeah, that's true.
Are we really at that point in 2018 where this show would show up and we would take it so literally?
Well, I don't know because I mean,
again, it's not that long ago that this show was on.
People are obsessed with The Office. It's not like now people who are obsessed with The Office. So I don't know if that would be exactly true. I mean, you would. It's one thing because they're obsessed with The Office, but it's an older thing. So they're obsessed with older jokes and stuff like that, and so it doesn't really play into things that are happening now. So it might be something that could.
The one thing that I think is starting to get played is The Office started the whole concept of the cutaway for it, pretending it to be like a documentary, and then eventually Parks and Rec happened, and then Modern Family happened, and all this other kind of stuff. I think that whole concept of talking into the camera and all this kind of stuff is getting to the point of okay, Yeah, we get it. We understand there's not going to be a laugh track and they act like morons and stuff like it is something to where when you're the first one who does it, it's like, wow, this is a revelation. Like when, like, again, one of the greatest sitcoms of all time was the Larry Sanders Show because it was revolutionary. It was so revolutionary. It literally took 15 years for the rest of the entertainment industry to do it again because no one understood what Gary Shandling was trying to do.
Yeah.
But then the fact that when it did happen, everyone just started doing it. And I'm like, okay, the whole premise of that it's a documentary and like the original British Office, it only lasted for like a couple years. And then the second part was they become famous because they eventually released the documentary.
Right.
Whereas like this Modern Family thing, okay, it's been like 10 years. When are they releasing this goddamn documentary?
Yeah.
So again, I don't know. I think that is more of the problem with The Office now is that the subject and the way that they did it could be too played, whereas I don't think it's because people would be offended by the Michael Scott character.
Yeah, I mean, it might be.
There you go.
Never know.
Who knows? You'd never do know. That's the thing.
Until you try it out and it's terrible.
Exactly. Anyways, thank you very much, Alex.
Yeah.
For being the greatest co-host in the history of internet radio. Again, my name is Mike Sasson. If you want to see me do stand-up comedy this Saturday, I'm in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. Next Friday, I'm going to be at Club Cafe where I'm going to be doing comedy. I think the show starts around 9:30, 10 o'clock. Whenever you want to show up, it's Pittsburgh comedy time. Usually starts late. And then the next day, I will be at one of the soft openings for the Pittsburgh Improv, completely new.
Woo!
So we'll talk about that. Alex, where can they find you?
Drinking at a bar.
There you go. And also follow Alex on Instagram. She has great pictures. Again, find those pictures that we were talking about earlier when she was with the great Riley Benson, correct?
Yes. I just posted my 500th post yesterday on Instagram. What? Okay. No, you're not. No. Clapping's not good for podcasts.
I think it's amazing.
I would immediately have turned off.
What was your first picture on your Instagram?
I feel like I just looked at it today. Actually, I think it was a picture of one of my exes, and it said, Happy Hanukkah. We have, during Christmas time, we have little lights in our windows that kind of look like menorahs, but they're not. They're
Was he of the Jewish faith?
No. I had to
you had to think about it again. No. Anyway, so again, look at Alex. And how did we find Alex's Instagram?
At Alexandra Clemens. I'm very proper on Instagram. That's why I use my full name. You know?
All good stuff. Again, thank you very much to everyone. Thank you to Brian Crawford, the godfather of the River's Edge. Keep listening to the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com. We're back next week. We're going to have a lot of hijinks. It's a lot of wonderful things. It's just about fun. Again, it's the Mike Sasson Show. We will see you next week. Bye.